Tyler Matzik, and you're watching On Deck with Tyler Redmond.
Got a pretty good team this year. You guys are currently a Wildcard team. You know, knocking on the door of first place in the National League East. How do you feel about this team?
I think we had a great team. I think we got a great chance. Because our starting pitching's been doing great. Our lineup's banging. Bullpen's been doing a pretty good job. So we just stay this course. I think we have a very good chance of winning this division. And when that happens, hopefully we get a good spot in the in the tournament, and we can take the trophy again.
If they can win in Atlanta, if they can perform in Atlanta and get some of those games back, which I believe they can, then the Braves could set themselves up for success. They can make a run in September.
This is Matt Olson. You're watching On Deck with Tyler Redmond.
Well, this is when the Braves are going to catch the Mets. This is when the Braves are really going to make a drive to catch up to the Mets in the division. Because, earlier in the year they had a 10.5 game lead. It was a different perspective. Now, the Braves have already caught the Mets. And I know they're a half game back, but they've caught the Mets. That being said, this is their last chance right here, this couple of week stretch, for them to get ready for that series with the Mets in Atlanta. This is a chance for them to either add on to their lead if they're leading, again, take the lead again, or a chance to extend their lead, whatever the case may be. This is their last chance to bolster whatever they're going to have going into the series with the Mets in Atlanta. This is it.
Hi, this is Phil Necro. You're watching On Deck with Tyler Redmond.
I think this is a very good team. I think they can make a run at a postseason. They're well in the wild card race right now. But that being said, if you want to set yourself up for, a profitable postseason, I look at it and I look at October right now, and I think you got to win the division.
I'm Luke Jackson. You're On Deck with Tyler Redmond.
Luke, you've been one of us this year. You've been a fan this year.
Yeah, it's been different.
Tell me what you see out of this current Braves team.
They're just as good or better than last year. Like, they're clicking on all cylinders, 1 through 9. The back end of the lineup is just absolutely incredible right now. Starting pitching's great, bullpen's great. I mean, they're proving it. Like, the record's going to be, insane. We're hunting down the Mets right now. Couple big series coming up, so we can get some traction and get going. The guys look good, and I'm excited. I hate off days, though. As a fan, it's the worst, man.
It is the worst, but it means I can come interview you guys, so I'm thrilled with it.
This is Kyle Wright, and you're watching On Deck with Tyler Redmond.
That's obviously the most important series going forward. No doubt about it. You get swept there, it could be detrimental to the season either way. If you lose that series, it could be detrimental to the season. Heck, the Braves may have to sweep that series. The Mets may have to sweep that series. Whatever the case may be, that series is the biggest series of the year for both teams.
Hello, baseball fans. You're watching On Deck with Tyler Redmond.
Welcome in On Deck. I'm Tyler Redmond. As always, thank you so much for checking out the channel. I do appreciate it. We are here, guys, and we are, if you haven't noticed, we are on a brand new set. So, of course, we will talk about that in just a few minutes. But we got some important things to talk about when it comes to Braves baseball. What an exciting time it is to be a Braves fan. The Braves are gearing up for what should be a postseason matchup, and it feels like postseason baseball, but it will be the Braves taking on the New York Mets starting tomorrow night. And it's going to be an exciting series. It's going to be the biggest series of the year for both teams. Both the Braves and the Mets have everything on the line. If the series goes too far one way, it spells disaster for the other team. Who I think has the advantage? I think on paper with numbers alone, the advantage has got to be towards the Mets. Just by name value, you're sending out Jacob deGrom, you're sending out Scherzer, and when you do that, everybody's going to assume that the Mets are going to, are going to win. That being said, I look at this and I say, well, how have the Braves played at home versus the road against the Mets? It's been radically different. The Braves just in the month of August, the first series against the Mets in August was in New York. The Braves played absolutely terrible. They lost 4 out of 5. 2 weeks later, the Braves take on the Mets in Atlanta, home field advantage. And I'm going to tell you, the crowd makes a difference. And I've seen it in action. I've seen it happen. The crowd definitely does make a difference. So keep that in mind. I really think that the home field advantage is going to come through here. Every game is sold out. By the way, weather is a non-factor at this point, and I think that's really going to make an impact. We have seen Charlie Morton specifically lock in when the time is right. We have seen Freed lock in when the time is right. There is no bigger series in the regular season than this series right here. So we will see. And I also wanted to mention that, you know, in a perfect world, the Braves would sweep this series. That, if you're a Braves fan, the Braves would sweep this series. That would give them a lead headed into the final series against the Marlins. But at minimum, they've got to win 2 out of 3 to win the division, in my opinion. You go into the last series, the Mets have the Nationals, the Braves have the Marlins, and anything can happen, sure. But to me, if for the Braves to win the division, they've got to at least win 2 out of 3. But that's just to give them a chance, because keep in mind, if the Braves tie the Mets, and that's by winning 2 out of 3, things are going to get interesting, because both the Mets and the Braves take on, again, lackluster teams to conclude the season. Right now, the Mets have a 9-7 record against Atlanta head-to-head. That matters. The reason being, under the new postseason format, there is no tiebreaker effective this year. The team with more wins head-to-head will win the division under a tie. So unless the Braves were to sweep the Mets this weekend, they would have that advantage headed into the final series of the year. That doesn't necessarily mean that the Mets are going to win the division if the Braves don't sweep them. And that would be a tall task, because they still have to win more games than the Braves in the final series. The head-to-head tiebreaker rule only matters if the Braves and the Mets finish on a tie in the standings. And for there to be any real chance of the Braves winning the division, they have to win this series. Make no mistake about it, they have to. And that's what's really important about this series, the postseason implications. Make no mistake, the Braves and the Mets are both headed to the postseason. In one shape or form, they are both headed there. This is essentially about placement in the tournament. This is essentially about where you're going to be at. You win the division, you get to rest pitchers and face a team that's gassed. And that can have a major effect. If you remember last year, Game 1 against the Dodgers was a bullpen game for the Dodgers. I was there. I remember thinking as I drove to the stadium that Max Scherzer was going to be taking the mound and Braves were going to have their work cut out for him. And it turned out that that wasn't the case. It was bullpen piece after bullpen piece. I believe Tony Gonsolin eventually came out and threw some innings, but it was essentially a bullpen game. And that is because in the wild card game against the Giants, Scherzer pitched the ninth and was gassed by the time he hit Atlanta. He could not pitch Game 1. Eventually, he pitched Game 2, still didn't seem to have all of it, and it led to a major advantage falling the Braves' way. That's how big this can of an effect this can have going into the postseason. So, what lies ahead for the Braves? Another deep run into the postseason, a wild card appearance, and nothing more. We are going to find out soon enough. But let's hear from you. We are here. I got the comments up. I'm going to talk to you, get all your questions answered as best of my ability as I can. So make sure to get them in, and we'll answer as many of them as we can. Again, super chats do have priority, and that is essentially you get to be first in line. So if you have a question, make sure to get it in, and we will answer it as quickly as we can. I'm here tonight, guys. I have nowhere to be. I'm gonna answer as many questions as I can. So if you have something to get off your mind, let me know. I'm here. Yasuki Knight says, hey man. Jonathan tunes in. He says hello. William says, let's go. It's a big weekend. It's the biggest weekend. Make no mistake about it. The biggest weekend. Blake is tuning in. He says, here we go. A lot of comments on the set, so I guess I should go ahead and mention it. Yeah, we got a new set. I don't know, I'm very happy with it. I have to thank my parents. They really helped out. My dad spent hours helping me put this together. I'm excited about it, guys. This is all because of you, though. At the end of the day, with your support, we've been able to grow this channel. We've been able to make it bigger. We've been able to make it better, and I can't be happier with it. So this is the new home of On Deck. This is where we will be, and it's a major upgrade if you're asking me. So I think it's great. It's I'll tell you, I've had it for a few days up and ready to go, but I've been sitting over there just looking at it. I've just been so happy with it, and I've had a picture of it. I've been looking at it when I'm not here. I'm thrilled with how this turned out. We're going to continue to upgrade it, probably improve some things, minimal things, but this is currently the new home of On Deck. We may add some new camera shots. We may do a few more things. But again, this is because of you. This is because of your support. This is because of you watching the videos, you liking the videos, subscribing, all of that. So if you're new to the community, make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, all that stuff. It really does help out. And everything that you super chat goes to one fund, and it helps fund everything we do here. So again, this right here is because of you, and I can't thank you all enough.